In the quiet bedroom of twin sisters, one with a warm, kindness-filled black face and the other with a cold, pride-filled white face, something impossible happens. Overnight, a strange, invisible wall rises between their beds. A wall no one can see. A wall no one can touch. A wall that moves only when their emotions change. When the kind twin tries to cross, the wall pushes her back gently. But when the rude twin tries, the wall shocks her with a cold, sharp wave, as if rejecting her attitude. Their parents can't break it. Tools can't break it. Even light refuses to cross it. Soon the twins realize, this wall is not made of mystery. It's made of emotions. Every harsh word, every ignored moment, every tear, every hurt feeling. Layers of pain becoming a barrier. And then comes the truth. Only kindness can break what ego has built. This is the moment their lives change forever. The night started like any other, but the feeling in the air was different. Heavy, fragile, almost trembling with something unsaid. Two twin sisters of 14 lay in the same room, but in completely different worlds. One, with a soft black-colored face and eyes full of gentle light, breathed kindness with every heartbeat. The other, with a sharp white-colored face and a gaze full of cold attitude, carried an invisible arm of pride she never learned how to remove. They weren't enemies. They weren't strangers. But they weren't close either. Somewhere between growing up and growing apart, a silent distance had settled between them. Something deeper than arguments, deeper than jealousy, deeper than the tiny wounds they kept pretending didn't hurt. The kind twin lay quietly under her warm blanket, listening to the soft hum of their night lamp. She glanced at her sister across the room, who sat scrolling at her phone with the cold confidence of someone who didn't want to be touched, spoken to, or understood. The kind twin whispered gently, "Good night. If you want, we can talk tomorrow." The white-faced twin didn't even look up. I said stay on your side. I'm not in the mood for your sweetness tonight," she snapped, as if kindness itself was an insult. The words floated in the room like needles, sharp and unnecessary. But the kind twin didn't respond. She never fought back, because she knew the truth that kind people learn too early. Hurt people don't know when they're hurting others. She turned to face the wall, her eyes slowly wetting with quiet tears she wouldn't let fall. She didn't want her sister to feel guilty. She didn't want her parents to worry. She didn't want to make anything worse. But silence has a weight, a heavy, suffocating weight. As the clock struck 12:03 a.m., something changed. At first, it was a soft vibration beneath their beds, like the world exhaling. Then a pulse of air, cold and warm at the same time. Then a strange, glowing shimmer stretching across the floor. The kind twin sat up immediately. The white twin looked up too, the phone slipping from her hand. A thin line of bending light rose from the floor, slow, gentle, but terrifying. Not a real wall, not a physical object, but something alive, something emotional. The air bent around it, floating dust turning into tiny golden particles, as if frozen in time. It looked like a barrier made of breath and memory. The kind twin whispered, voice trembling, What is that?" The white twin got up from her bed, trying to look confident, though her voice shook. "Don't tell me you did something weird. Why is this happening in my room?" But even as she yelled, her eyes reflected something deeper than anger, fear. The kind twin slowly reached out her hand. Her fingers touched the invisible barrier. It didn't hurt her. It didn't scare her. It gently pushed her back with a warm pressure, almost like a parent telling a child to stay where they are. She gasped softly. "It's soft." The white-faced twin stepped forward aggressively and slapped her palm onto the barrier. Lightning like cold shot through her arm. She jerked back, stumbling into her bed. "What the—" "Why did it shock me?" she shouted, fear now louder than her attitude. The kind twin stared at her, eyes widening with realization. I think it feels our feelings." The white twin snapped back, voice cracking. "Feelings? How can a wall feel anything?" The kind twin took a slow breath, her voice soft but steady. "Because this wall isn't magic, it's us." The room fell completely silent. Both girls stared at the shimmering divide, and the air grew heavier, with every heartbeat. The kind twin continued softly. Every time we fought, every time you pushed me away, every time I cried silently thinking you hated me, maybe those moments didn't disappear. They stayed here. They collected. They turned into this. The rude sister's expression twisted. Not in anger this time, but in guilt, confusion, and something she was terrified to admit. "You're saying I did this?" she whispered, voice fragile. "I made this wall." The kind twin shook her head gently. "No, we both did. A wall needs two people to rise, one to hurt and one to stay silent." The white twin felt something inside her crack, not like glass, but like ice melting for first time in years. She took a small step forward, reaching out again, slowly, carefully. The wall resisted her touch. Not violently this time, but firmly, like a boundary that wasn't ready to forgive yet. She swallowed her pride for the first time in a long time. "What do I do? How do I fix this?" The kind twin's eyes softened. "You don't have to fix it alone, but it will only break if you try to understand me, not just argue with me." The white twin had no words. Her throat tightened, her eyes glistened. Not with anger, but with something she never allowed herself to feel in the open. Vulnerability. She sat slowly on her bed, hugging her knees, trembling. "I never hated you," she whispered barely audibly. "I just didn't know how to be soft. Everyone expects me to be strong, to act tough, to not care, and when you're always kind, it makes me feel worse, like I'm broken." The kind twin's tears finally fell. "You're not broken. You're hurting. But instead of letting me help you, you built walls around yourself." The invisible wall glowed softer, as if listening, understanding, responding. The white twin looked up, her voice cracking. "I don't know how to be good like you. I don't know how to be warm. But I don't want this wall between us. I don't want you to give up on me." The kind twin pressed her palm against the barrier, eyes filled with sincerity. "I never gave up on you. I just hope one day you would let me in." The wall flickered, tiny waves of warm light pulsing through it. The white twin hesitated, then stood up again and approached the barrier. She touched it with shaking hands, not with arrogance this time, but with the smallest spark of softness. And for the first time, the wall didn't shock her. It didn't vanish, but it changed. A faint warm crack appeared at the center, a tiny opening, a sign that healing had begun. The white twin let out a shaky breath, half laugh, half cry. Is it working?" The kind twin smiled through tears. "Yes, kindness breaks what ego builds." The white twin lowered her head. "I'm sorry," she whispered so quietly it felt like the truth escaping after years of being trapped. The room finally felt different. Lighter, real, alive. The wall still stood, but it was no longer a prison. It had become a mirror, showing the truth they were finally learning to face. And as the night slowly settled again, their hearts, for the first time in years, beat on the same side of the divide. When emotions stay unspoken, they build walls stronger than stone. But when one heart chooses honesty and the other chooses kindness, even the hardest walls begin to crack. The morning light entered the twins' room like a shy visitor, touching the invisible wall with a hesitant warmth. The barrier shimmered faintly, no longer as cold as last night, but still standing like a reminder of everything said unsaid and felt between the two sisters. The kind twin woke first, stretching gently, her eyes drifting immediately toward the glowing divide. She placed her palms softly against it and felt it, alive, aware, responding to her warmth. It felt different today, less tense, less cold, like it had heard their tears on the night before. She whispered, "You're still here?" Across the room, the white-faced twin stirred, turning in her bed restlessly. Her hair was messy, her eyes swollen from the tears she hid under her blanket after her sister fell asleep. She had cried quietly, afraid to let anyone hear her weakness, afraid to admit how much she needed her twin. But the truth was clear now. She didn't just need her sister. She needed healing. She slowly sat up, rubbing her eyes, pretending she was emotional, even though everything inside her felt heavy and delicate, like glass on the edge of breaking. The kind twin looked at her, giving a small, hopeful smile. "Good morning." The white-faced twin didn't snap back, didn't roll her eyes, didn't dismiss her. Instead, she whispered, "Morning," too softly for someone who had lived with a storm inside her for years. The kind twin's heart warmed. Small changes matter. Even a whisper could be a crack in a wall. The white twin got out of bed slowly, staring at the shimmering line dividing their room. "So it wasn't a dream," she muttered under her breath. "No," the kind twin replied gently. "But it's different today." Softer, the white twin approached the barrier, lifting her hand as if preparing to battle it. But she didn't touch it with pride this time. She touched it with caution, regret, and something new, softness. The wall didn't shock her, but it didn't welcome her either. It felt like a heartbeat, steady, waiting, unsure. The white twin sighed deeply. "So, this thing reacts to our emotions?" The kind twin nodded. "I think it reacts to our truth." The white twin sat on the floor, back against her bed. "I don't even know what my truth is." The kind twin walked closer to the wall, sitting opposite her. "You don't have to know it right away. We learn truth when we stop pretending." The white twin clenched and unclenched her fists. She had spent years pretending. Pretending she didn't care. Pretending she didn't need anyone. Pretending she wasn't hurting. Now, suddenly, honesty felt like standing under a spotlight with nowhere to hide. She whispered, "Do you think I'm a bad person?" The kind twin's eyes softened immediately. "No, I think you're a hurting person. That's different." "But I hurt you," the white twin whispered, her voice trembling. "You hurt me because you couldn't express your own hurt," the kind twin replied. "That's not evil. That's pain." The white twin swallowed hard, voice almost breaking. "I'm scared of losing you." "You won't," the kind twin said, simple and sure. "You'll only lose me if you stop trying." The wall flickered again, a pulse of warm light running through it, like hope waking up. Later that morning, their parents called them for breakfast. But when the twins tried to walk out of the room, the wall reacted again. The kind twin stepped toward the door. The wall allowed her. The barrier shimmered but didn't resist. But when the white twin stepped toward the same direction, the barrier rose higher, glowing brighter, blocking her path. She froze. "What? Why won't it let me out?" The kind twin turned back, concerned. "Maybe it needs something from you first." The white twin frowned, confused. "What more does it want?" "I already apologized." The kind twin approached the barrier softly. Sometimes apologies come from the mouth, not the heart. The wall doesn't want the words. It wants a change. The white twin looked at the barrier, like it was a judge holding her prisoner. "So until I what? Turn into some kind of angel, I'm stuck inside this room." The kind twin shook her head. "No, until you stop fighting yourself." The white twin froze. The sentence hit her harder than last night's shock. She wasn't fighting the wall. She wasn't fighting her sister. She was fighting the pain she never admitted existed. She slid down onto the floor, burying her face in her hands. "I don't know how to stop fighting," she whispered, voice shaking. "I don't know how to be soft without feeling weak." The kind twin came closer, pressing her palm to the barrier. "You don't have to be soft. You just have to be honest." The wall pulsed gently, almost encouraging her. After a long silence, the white twin whispered the first truth she had buried deep inside her chest. "When people look at you, they see a kind girl with a warm heart. When they look at me, they see someone strong, rude, confident. But I'm not confident. I'm scared. I get angry because I don't know how to ask for help. And every time you're kind to me, I feel like I don't deserve it." The kind twin's breath caught. She had never heard her sister speak like this. Not once in 14 years. The wall glowed softly, like a lamp dimming to listen. The kind twin whispered, "You deserve love, even the broken parts of you." "I'm not broken," the white twin snapped. It was instinct. But then her voice dropped into a trembling whisper. "I just feel broken." The kind twin nodded. "That's okay. We fix things by admitting they're cracked." The white twin felt tears prick her eyes again. She hated crying, hated looking weak, hated feeling exposed. But today, she didn't stop the tears. They rolled down slowly, silently, as if they knew this moment needed them. The kind twin pressed her hand harder against the barrier. "Come closer, please." The white twin hesitated. Then she crawled toward her sister, slow, shaky, fragile. When she pressed her hand to the barrier too, something changed. The wall warmed instantly. The glowing light dimmed. A soft humming vibration passed between their palms, as if the wall was breathing, healing, releasing. A thin crack of warm gold spread from the bottom upward. The kind twin whispered, "It's breaking." The white twin whispered back through tears, "Because I'm finally being real." The wall continued cracking softly, gently, like ice melting in sunlight, not shattered, not gone, but changing. The kind twin gave her sister a small, hopeful smile. "You're doing it." The white twin cried harder. Don't tell me I'm doing good. I'm not used to hearing that." The kind twin's voice softened even more. "That's why you need to hear it." The wall dimmed another level, its glow retreating inward, not disappearing, but folding, shrinking, bending. The white twin whispered, "I don't know if I can be good every day." "You don't have to," the kind twin replied. "You just have to try. That's enough." The wall cracked again, long, warm, glowing like sunlight finding its way through clouds. For the first time, the white-faced twin saw something frightening and beautiful. Kindness wasn't weakness. It was strength, and vulnerability was not losing power. It was gaining connection. As the afternoon sun entered the room fully, the wall shrank even more. Its light wasn't punishing anymore. It was understanding. The kind twin whispered, "Look, it's almost gone." The white twin looked at her sister with watery eyes. "Do you think one day we won't need this wall at all?" The kind twin smiled, tears shining like soft stars. "One day, yes, when your heart stops building new ones." The white twin took a trembling breath. "Teach me everything you know." The kind twin nodded. "I will, as long as you stay open." And for the first time in their lives, the space between them felt like home instead of war. The wall didn't vanish today, but it changed. It softened. It cracked. It listened. It healed. Healing never happens in one day, but it begins in one moment. And today, they created that moment. The night the wall began to glow was the night everything changed. It started with a soft shimmer, just a faint pulse of blue light humming through the middle of their shared room. Black-faced, gentle-hearted Mira was sitting on her bed, reading the note she kept hidden under her pillow, her reminder to stay kind even when kindness felt heavy. White-faced, proud and sharp-tongued Lyra stood by the window, scrolling on her phone, pretending not to notice the tension between them that had thickened over the past days. The invisible wall had existed for weeks now, dividing their room into two cold halves. But tonight, it was waking up again, almost as if it had something to say. Mira felt the air shift first. A warm breeze brushed her cheek, carrying a faint whisper. It wasn't a human voice, more like the echo of a memory. She froze, her heart trembling. The wall pulsed again, brighter this time, and Lyra finally turned. She scoffed at first, rolling her eyes as if Mira were somehow responsible for the strange light. But the truth was, Lyra felt something too, something unsettling, something she didn't want to admit. Because deep inside her, behind all that attitude and sharpness, she carried a small, shaking fear. The fear of being wrong, the fear of being unlikable, the fear of caring too much. As the glow spread, Mira stepped closer to the wall, her breath soft and steady. "Lyra, it's happening again," she whispered, her voice trembling not from fear, but from hope. Lyra crossed her arms, refusing to show even a trace of worry. "Great. Another one of your emotional magic hallucinations," she muttered. But her voice cracked on the last word, and Mira noticed. She always noticed. The wall flickered suddenly, sending sparks of light bursting like tiny stars. The room shook gently, like someone knocking from the other side. Mira reached out instinctively, but Lyra grabbed her wrist. "Don't touch it," she snapped. But Mira only looked up at her with those soft, understanding eyes. "It reacts to us. to how we treat each other. You know that. Lyra wanted to deny it. She wanted to say something cruel, something that would protect her pride. But the last time she ignored Mira, the wall had turned cold, and their room had become unbearable. She had spent 3 nights sleeping with her lights on, pretending it didn't scare her, pretending she didn't feel the loneliness seeping in like winter air. The wall glowed again, but this time the light changed, turning a deep, aching red. Mira stepped back, alarmed. Lyra swallowed hard. A moment later, red shapes began forming inside the glow. Shadows. Silhouettes. Their silhouettes. It was showing them their own reflections. 2 versions of themselves standing back to back. Mira gasped softly as she watched her shadow shrink smaller and smaller, curling into itself as if suffocating under silence. Lyra's shadow stood tall and rigid, but cracks ran through it like broken glass. Mira covered her mouth. Lyra looked away. "It's showing us what we're becoming," Mira whispered. The wall crackled. Red sparks burst outward, casting sharp, long shadows across the floor. Lyra flinched as the light stung her eyes. "So what? You think this is my fault?" she said, but her voice shook. Mira stepped forward, not accusing, only sad. "I think we stopped trying. Both of us." Lyra's lips parted. The words struck deeper than she expected. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. The wall shifted again. The red faded into a soft pink glow, warm, almost loving. Mira felt a sensation like gentle fingers brushing her cheek. Lyra blinked as the glow wrapped around her like a quiet hug she didn't ask for but desperately needed. Something inside both girls began to loosen. The wall started projecting images, memories of their childhood. Mira and Lyra as little kids, laughing while painting their old wooden toy chest. The 2 of them building blanket forts together. The time Lyra defended Mira from a group of kids teasing her at the park. The birthday cake Mira baked for Lyra when she turned 10, even though she burned her hand but still smiled. Lyra's breath hitched. She tried to swallow her emotions, but they rose too fast. "Stop," she whispered weakly. "Please stop." But the wall kept going. Memory after memory. Joy, pain, loyalty. Moments they had pretended to forget because pride and hurt were easier than vulnerability. Mira wiped a tear, but didn't look away. "It's not trying to hurt us," she said softly. "It's trying to remind us." Lyra's chest tightened so much it felt like her ribs were caving in. She blinked rapidly, but tears spilled anyway. "Why does it always show your side? Your kindness, your softness. Why never mine?" Mira turned, stunned. "Lyra, it shows both. It just hurts you differently." Lyra shook her head, clutching her own arms. "No, you don't get it. Everyone thinks you're the good one, the angel twin, the kind one. And me, I'm just the attitude girl, the rude one, the problem." Myra's heart broke instantly. She stepped closer, slowly, carefully, as though approaching someone standing on the edge of a cliff. "You're not a problem," Mira whispered. "You're hurting, and you hide it so that no one can see." Lyra looked up, eyes shimmering with vulnerability she hadn't allowed anyone to see in years. The wall glowed brighter. Warm gold this time, gentle, encouraging, patient. Mira held Lyra's hands. Lyra didn't pull away. "For weeks," Mira continued softly, "I kept thinking maybe you hated me. Maybe the wall formed because you didn't want to be around me anymore." Lyra's face collapsed. "I never hated you. I didn't know how to say things without ruining them." The wall reacted instantly, glowing brighter in pure gold light. A soft hum vibrated through the room, like a heartbeat syncing with theirs. Mira brushed a tear off Lyra's cheek with a tenderness that melted every layer of defense Lyra had built. "Then say something now. Anything. Say it wrong. Say it messy. Just say it." Lyra took a long, shaking breath. Her voice cracked with every word. "I don't want this wall anymore. I'm tired of pretending I don't care. I'm tired of being the strong one when I'm not even strong. I'm tired of pushing you away." Mira pulled her into a hug so fierce, so honest, Lyra broke entirely. She cried into Myra's shoulder, sobbing years of swallowed sadness. And Mira held her like she'd been waiting her whole life for this moment. The wall responded instantly. The gold light brightened to a brilliant white, humming louder, wrapping around them like the world itself was exhaling. Then it cracked. A small, shining fracture appeared at the center, thin as a hairline, glowing like the first line of dawn. Lyra's eyes widened. "Is it?" "Yes," Mira whispered. "It's breaking." The crack widened. The hum deepened. And then, with a soft, thunderous sound like a heartbeat finally being freed, the wall shattered, not into pieces, not into dust, but into pure light that dissolved into the air, leaving behind nothing but warmth. The room filled with glowing particles that drifted down like golden snowflakes. Mira smiled softly. Lyra laughed through her tears. The room was whole again. The air felt lighter, the shadows gentler, the silence finally peaceful. Lyra sat on Myra's bed, still overwhelmed, still shaking. "Why did the wall form at all?" she asked quietly. Mira looked at her with eyes full of truth. "Because we forgot that love only grows where both people feel safe. Kindness alone can't save everything. You needed to feel understood, too." Lyra lowered her head. "I never asked for that." "You didn't have to," Mira replied. "You deserved it." Lyra took Myra's hand and squeezed it. "I'm sorry." The words were clumsy, broken, imperfect, but real. Mira smiled gently. "I know." For the first time, Lyra didn't hide. She didn't pretend. She didn't armor herself with attitude. She simply sat there, human, hurting, healing. The wall had broken, but something else had begun. A bond rebuilt, a truth revealed, a lesson learned. And beneath the moonlight shining through their window, the sisters leaned on each other, knowing that this time they wouldn't let silence or pride build anything between them again. There are moments in life when the walls we face are not built of bricks or stone, but made from silence, misunderstandings, small hurts, unspoken fears, and the pride we hide behind. Sometimes those walls grow so quietly that we don't even notice them until they stand between us and the people we love. But even the strongest invisible walls can be broken, not with anger, not with blame, not with who is right or wrong, but with something far deeper, something more human. Kindness, honesty, vulnerability, and the courage to understand someone else's hidden pain. Kindness is not weakness. It is the world's most powerful force. The one thing that reaches places where harshness can never go. When you choose kindness in moments when it's easier to walk away, you open a door for healing. When you choose understanding over judgment, you turn cold distances into warm bridges. When you choose to listen instead of defend, you allow someone else's truth to breathe for the first time. And that is where real connection begins. But kindness alone is not enough. For love to survive, it needs truth. It needs space where both people feel safe to be imperfect, emotional, scared, messy, human. Sometimes the ones who act the coldest are the ones who are hurting the most. Sometimes the ones who speak with sharpness are protecting their own fragile heart. Sometimes the people who seem the strongest are the ones breaking silently outside of everyone's sight. And sometimes the most meaningful thing you can do is simply sit with someone's pain and say, "I see you. I am here." Walls fall when we stop pretending. Healing starts when we stop competing. Love grows when we stop hiding. And connection deepens when we allow each other to be real, even in the moments we feel unlovable. Every relationship, sisters, friends, family, partners, faces its own invisible walls. What matters is not avoiding them, but learning how to break them, not with force, but with empathy, not with pride, but with honesty, not with distance, but with courage. Because every wall built by fear can be undone by love. Every silence can be replaced with understanding. Every broken moment can be rewritten with compassion. And the most beautiful truth of all is this: when kindness leads, hearts follow. When empathy flows, pain softens. And when love becomes brave, walls disappear.